Terence Bud Crawford. It don't look like he's going to be fighting Errol Spence Jr. anytime soon. It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I can just do this all day, the two-time demonetized champion of the world.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
Check it out, man. Terence Crawford looking very strong ahead of his upcoming fight this August 3rd against Israel Madarov, his 154-pound debut. But before we continue with Terence Bud Crawford, Errol the Truth Big Fish Spence Jr. also got a fight coming up this fall with Sebastian Fundora. WBC title fight, 154-pound debut. Errol Spence don't do lines, right? He just don't wait in line. But Errol Spence had a conversation with Showtime Sean Porter. Yeah, that's right. Errol Spence and Sean Porter had a conversation about their fight. Now, remember back when that fight happened, Sean Porter just couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. He was an in-shape street fighter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once that fight happened, he was anything but. Check out what they had to say.
My thought, I was like, he don't know everything that I can do. And I said it's going to take everything I got to beat him. And I really did feel like I was pulling everything out of my bag in order to there were points where I felt like I was ahead of you, and then there were other points where I felt like, yo, I gotta come back. You know, I felt like I was pulling everything out of my bag to pull out that win. But I felt like going into the ring, I felt like I was better than he thought I was. And I think you had already been saying that, but I felt like that before you were saying it. Yeah. I was like, I'm better than he know I am. I can box better than he know I can box, and I can do more things than he know I could do. And I felt like I was going to come in there and surprise you.
Yeah, you did show me a lot of different things, because I ain't going to lie, like, even with, like, Derek, he was trying to tell me to do different things and do all this step up. I'm like, man.
In the fight?
No, in training camp.
In the camp, yeah.
I was like, man, like I'm not doing none of that. Like,
was it like
we just gonna fight?
Did it make sense was he showing you? Did it make sense to some of the things I did?
Yeah, cause like you start doing it. You start stepping over and doing different angles. And I was like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about.
Well, listen, man, you validate the coach right there.
The 11th round, the shot. That was the 11th round.
Yeah.
Earl, what the hell did you think when this motherfucker said, "Let's go"?
Huh? Shit, what I've been thought, I was like, this man is just gonna fight to the death. That was in my head. I was like, this man is just gonna fight to the death. Like,
Errol Spence Jr. just didn't believe that Sean Porter was that damn good. Errol Spence Jr. didn't listen to Derek James' advice in camp, right? We heard him. Derek James was trying to have him do this, have him do that, and come to find out, what Derek James was trying to show him, Sean Porter actually did in a fight, and Errol Spence could have actually used what Derek James was teaching him in that fight. But as we all know right now, Errol Spence and Derek James are no longer working together, and Errol Spence is on the hunt for a new trainer. We last seen him with Roy Jones Jr., so it's speculation that could be his new trainer. But moving forward, Errol Spence Jr., what's the end game? What's the goal? Well, fans would assume the goal is to rematch Terence Crawford at 154 pounds. But Brian Bomac McIntyre has some things to say in regards to this. Check it out.
Dominant performance against Errol. He has this fight coming up with Sebastian Fundora. He's mentioned, hey, if he's successful, he would like to have the rematch. Do you foresee it at all happening?
If he wanted the rematch, he would have took it at 47. I don't want to hear that. He's just going and do his fight and do what he needs to do to finish out his career.
Now, to hear what Bomac had to say, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't quite like it. I didn't really like what he had to say. He said if he really wanted the rematch, he'll do it at 47. But let's try it again at 54, right? If there's any excuses at 47 as to whatever, the weight or whatever, okay, let's do it again at 54. And truth be told, in my opinion, I don't think Spence necessarily wanted the rematch at 47 because he had no leverage at 47. But now, with the way things turned out, with Tim Tszyu and Fedora, now Spence, who, as we know, don't do lines, right? He don't wait in line for nothing. He leapfrogged right into a WBC title shot at his 154-pound debut. So, yeah, fans would have automatically assumed if Spence gets past Fundora, he'll be the WBC champion. And if Terence Crawford wants to be undisputed at 54, well, he's going to have to see Errol Spence Jr. once again. Bomac didn't seem too interested, but I'd be lying to you if I said that I wasn't interested. Because I'm always interested in seeing what a guy can do. I'm always rooting for a guy in his comeback to see what he can do, to see if he can do something different the next go around. But moving forward, Terence Crawford, another potential matchup boxing fans been talking about for Terence Crawford is, of course, is the fight with Canelo Alvarez. And in this fight, it seemed like I would never imagine it was going to be this difficult, right? Canelo Alvarez don't really seem too interested in the fight. However, boxing seems to be interested in the fight, and more conversations are going to come up with the name Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Canelo Alvarez is going to have to acknowledge this at one point, and what he's going to do, fight William Skull in his next mandatory in September. I don't think he necessarily wants to do that, but Canelo Alvarez, we've seen crazier things come from Canelo Alvarez. Fighting Terence Crawford naturally would seem like it would be right up Canelo Alvarez's alley. A smaller guy coming up to see him. He's coming all the way up to see him at his weight class. Sometimes Canelo may do a catch weight depending on the fighter, but Canelo Alvarez ain't doing no catch weight for Crawford. So Crawford will have to see him all the way. Now fans say, well, Crawford may be too small, it's a risky fight, yada, yada, yada. But check out what Brian Bomac McIntyre had to say about Terence Crawford and some of the work he puts in the gym against bigger fighters.
Also for Terence, he's getting bigger, he's sparring bigger guys. Is this kind of like a process to get to a Canelo fight so that the weight difference isn't so much the night of the fight?
I mean, y'all can look at it like that, but always been sparring bigger guys. I remember one time he sparred Brian Jennings. Yeah, he sure did. What happened? You're laughing. Something good happened, right? That was a good sparring session. You know, Bud's he's slippery, like Coach Red always say, swim without getting wet. That pay homage to a brother not seen right there.
Now, to hear what Bomac had to say, he said Crawford put in some good work against heavyweight Brian Jennings. And he said that Crawford spars bigger fighters all the time. So Canelo Alvarez probably wouldn't be too much of a struggle for Terence Crawford like some fans who don't think Crawford stands a chance think. But we'll see, right? We don't know how things are going to play out. You know, boxing changes so much like the Midwest weather. You just don't know what to expect in the sport of boxing. Terence Crawford must get past Israel Madarov, and he must, just do what he's been doing, running through the opposition. And I think if he runs through Israel Madarov, Canelo Alvarez will have to see him. However, he may overdo it, and Canelo Alvarez may not want to see him at all. But yeah, man, it sucks for Errol Spence that Team Crawford, well, Bomac anyway, don't seem too interested in a rematch for Errol Spence. But I do believe that if Errol Spence can get that belt from Sebastian Fundora, we will see Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence too. Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, hot your boy. Peace out.